Good morning, Digit fam. Adam Doud here, closing out another month with tech goodies in your stocking. It is Friday the 13th, so if you're the superstitious sort, stay away from black cats and ladders for the rest of the day, but if you find a penny, you go ahead and pick that up. You've earned it. And speaking of earning, it's time I earn my keep. It is December 13th, 2019, and this is your Digit Daily. We're in the heart of holiday shopping season, so it's hard to get a glimpse of what we'll be shopping for next year at this time. But Microsoft has something to say about that. GameSpot shared an image of what the Xbox Series X will look like, and it kind of looks like a mini PC, which, let's be honest, is kind of Microsoft's home turf. We're looking at a tall box, approximately 6 inches square by 11 inches tall. There's a fan on top for cooling, but it's okay. It's designed to be quiet. Shh. It's got a custom-designed CPU based on AMD's Zen 2, and the GPU has Radeon RDNA architecture. There's also an NVMe SSD for fast load times. Also in the box comes 8K support and 120 frames per second. Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, calls it bold and unique, and I guess making it in the shape of a unicorn would have been more bold and unique if you ask me. This is just a box, which granted is 3/4 of the name Xbox, so I guess we're not really allowed to be surprised here. Now the fact that this is called a Series X implies that there will be more than one of these guys. You can't have a series of one, unless of course Christian Slater is your leading man, and I'm happy that I have at least one, and likely only one listener that will understand that joke. But a series of these devices points to the future of Microsoft gaming, and let's not forget Project xCloud is on the horizon, which is game streaming with the Xbox. While xCloud is currently limited to Android phones, it gives us a look at the future of gaming between that and Stadia and other game streaming platforms. Some think that consoles like this might have a somewhat limited niche future. I'm not so sure, at least not until 5G is here and affordable for all. Consoles will still have their place, never fear, but there is some speculation that the Xbox X Series might include low-powered hardware to give cloud gaming or digital-only games a shot. Meanwhile, Sony is still trying to keep people locked into its PlayStation platform, and while the Xbox looks like compelling hardware, there's not a lot here that are going to cause people to defect. Platform lock-in is a real thing, and it's a major thing when it comes to gaming platforms. You can't very easily replace a console and catalog of games these days. Even just on Stadia, you're buying $60 games, and if you have, 5 games, that's $300 that you put into a platform because it's the, air quote, cheaper alternative to console gaming. All the same, Sony will have to reply to this, so we'll wait for that. But what we won't wait for is the Roundup! Ryan Thomas Shaw at Android Authority attempts to answer the question that has certainly occurred to me, and probably a few of you at some point too. Do we really need a 108 megapixel camera sensor? Ryan's answer is, yeah, probably not. And he dives into a number of different reasons, including processing time, processing power, storage, and display availability. All good points. Plus, consider that high-end flagships these days, such as the iPhone 11, the Note 10, are all using 12 megapixel sensors, even though the 48 megapixel sensor has been out for almost a year already. Some argue, and not incorrectly, that pushing the limits of hardware and software is a good thing, and I think they're right. Eventually, flagships will move on to bigger sensors, but they will definitely take their time, because as of right now, 12 megapixels is kind of the sweet spot. Despite a rough start, well, let's call it what it is, despite the hot garbage fire that was the introduction of the Galaxy Fold earlier this year, Samsung has gone on to sell 1 million Galaxy Folds at $2,000 a pop. And for those who can't math, that's $2 billion with a B dollars, or as Samsung likes to think about it, 15 days worth of advertising budget. Still, I honestly didn't think Samsung would move that many units. I have trust issues with that phone personally. I could see maybe 50, 100,000 units maybe, but 1 million units is impressive, all things considered. Well played, Samsung. Remember how we talked about Facebook merging its assets with WhatsApp and Instagram into one cohesive messenger app? Well, not so fast, says the FTC. That agency is reportedly weighing its options on whether or not to go to court to block the merging of these assets. And if it does, there's really only one reason it would do that: getting a court order to separate the assets entirely, which is to say, sell or spin off Instagram and WhatsApp entirely. That would be no bueno for Facebook and friends, so we'll see how this shakes out in the new year. The FCC voted to establish a new 3-digit suicide prevention hotline number, 988. Dialing that number will put you in touch with the suicide prevention hotline, and it's slightly easier to remember than the current number, which is 1-800-273-TALK. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death among Americans, with heart disease remaining at numero uno. No word yet on what the 3-digit number will be for people to call before they go into McDonald's, because it seems like we could use one of those. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a craving for a McMuffin. Lyft wants to get into the car rental game, and it's now offering car rentals in San Francisco and Los Angeles for $35 per day, which is fairly cheap for a car rental, but not completely crazy. Jalopnik says that this is a new way for Lyft to burn through cash, which, honestly, I don't really see it. A quick check at another car rental agency showed that $35 per day is definitely on the low end of rentals, but it's still within the spectrum. Lyft wants to figure out a way to make money that doesn't involve a bunch of rich people and a PowerPoint. This probably isn't it, but in the meantime, Los Angelinos, get yourself a cheap car rental today. Facebook announced a series of minor improvements to chat and social features in the Oculus headsets, while at the same time announcing that it's going to start using Oculus data to show you ads. Yay. Well, I guess for me, between Pistol Whip and Beat Saber, I can expect to see a lot more gun and lightsaber offers in my Facebook feed. That is assuming I ever log into Facebook. I'm not too worried. And finally, Samuel L. Jackson is now a voice on the Alexa. And yes, that swears a lot like a motherfucker. So needless to say, this father of two won't be turning that feature on. So that is going to do it for today's Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on Digit.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com. Once again, I'm Adam Doud, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again on Monday.